Massive update today. College football 26, EA dropping it on us on a Wednesday. Found out about it yesterday. Gave about a 24-hour notice before they released this bad boy. There was a lot of major fixes in this. A couple of them are, I'd say, more important than others and are going to help you and have really addressed issues specifically with the blocking in the run game. And that's one of the major area of focuses I'm going to talk about today. But I also want to talk about, the defensive zone match IQ, essentially, the way the mechanics work in the game, the logic of it are much better, and the actual zone matches play how they're supposed to in real life. And so it's going to make your life a lot easier and not take out entire zone coverages for you to be able to use on the defensive side of the ball. They're very good situationally, and you should be able to use them. But if they're not making much sense, then there's no reason for you to run them. So the first thing I want to talk about is the run logic, and I just queued up a couple of random run plays just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. So they added this new thing called IDing the defender, or essentially having a defender that goes unblocked. So the way the IDing the mic works is that you essentially flick up on the right stick and you press A. If you want to get rid of that, you flick up again and you press LT. Now there's no untargeted defender. You can see all of my defenders are targeted right now. So right now my right guard and my center are going to combo block up to that weak side backer. My backside guard is going to pull around and hit the play side backer. So that is how it works. If I flick up and untarget this weak side linebacker, look where he goes. My combo block is now going to be getting off to the safety. Here's how it looks. Obviously, he's not going to get off because the safety is 20 yards deep, so he's not going to actually combo block out. You can do this with literally anybody that is in that second level, or in the first two levels, I should say. You can't do the safeties, but you can if you don't want to block the nose tackle, you don't have to block the nose tackle. So now my center is literally going to pass the nose tackle to the middle linebacker. It's not going to work, but I'll show you exactly what it looks like. He blew it up. Right? So he's still going to engage with him because that is the way it works on the line of scrimmage, but he is going to instantly get to the next level. So the way you can use it to benefit yourself is that if you deem a player on the other team that when the way you see this is hold LT and move your right stick to the left. If you deem another player on the defense to not be a paramount person to block, so it really has no effect on your run game at all, then you would use it. So now we have a counterplay, and this is where it becomes super interesting. So you can see that they're going to combo up to the backside backer. Well, what if I decide that I don't want that backside backer to be selected? Well, let's see what it does. So now he's selected. Sometimes it won't show as a symbol, but you'll see here that they're just not, blocking that player. I don't even know if my guard is doing anything on this play. He's just going to combo block. They didn't block him. I don't think they would have been able to get to him anyway. So sometimes they'll actually pre-select the defender for you. And on this play, I don't love it. I think that I know why, because there are 5 guys in the box and one of them has to be unselected. I think with my running back, I can beat him inside on this trap play, and I would rather get to that second level linebacker than have to, beat him one-on-one, where I can instead not block that guy and beat him to the gap. So we're going to do that instead, and it flipped the play. I don't know why it did that. That's annoying, but you get my drift on that, right? Here, we already got a player selected. Let's stick with the player they selected and see what happens. Yep, they don't go up to him. Nothing happens. The other thing that they did in the run game was they supposedly fixed the logic of lead blockers on pulls and sweeps, outside runs, whatnot, to make them actually follow a path and not deviate off that path. So let's go pick some outside runs so you can kind of see what it looks like. It's like a 37. How does he do? He does cut up there. That makes, that looks good there. I have noticed so far today in what I've been able to play that it does feel more fluid. Obviously, you're still going to have instances. Like I had one when I was playing earlier where my fullback, both of my fullbacks missed one guy and it blew up the play on a toss sweep. Right? Those things are going to happen. But at least you see them pulling back, and I'll show you on the replay what I'm talking about, and where this didn't used to happen. Is that, you know, this, there he is. This tackle, oh my gosh. I'm going to get to him eventually. Oh my Lord. Okay, there we go. This tackle, when he pulled, would not peel back and hit that guy. He would just run up the field and go look for other work. Now he peels back, takes him out. You get your second puller hitting that defender and obviously they're playing in a prevent look, so it's not, you know, this isn't a situation where you're going to see a ton, but, you know, he hits him, your fullback gets out and hits the corner. That is how it's supposed to work. So now we have this pulling offensive lineman that looks like our tackle out of this wing pair shotgun look. So he's going to hit that defensive end that's playing it, you know, essentially an 11 technique. He's going to hit him. We're going to cut up. Somebody wasn't blocked. Who wasn't blocked? It was a linebacker. It's not the fault of the lead blocker. That logic makes sense. So it was just an unblocked defender. Your guard was supposed to combo block up to him. He's not able to get there. Sometimes that happens, right? Let's do it again. See how this works. Everybody cut back inside. Did you see that? I don't know. I will go to replay and so I can show you again. Look at this. Because there's nobody lined up outside, they all immediately fold in. They didn't used to do this. They would just run outside. You see 42 folds in, 74 folds back because there's no work for him front side. Now, I do dislike this a little bit because you'll see he then targets this defender. Instead of hitting number 92, he's going to look for that random safety that's in the box for whatever reason. Instead, how this should work, it's not awful. How it should work, though, is that he doesn't see any work. He gets up the field. He doesn't peel back yet because we're not even past the line of scrimmage yet. You know, there's no reason for him to peel back. What he should do is keep going up and then peel back for that linebacker over the top. Here we got an escort block. This is a big one. Does this get blocked up right? Yep, that got blocked up well. We got another escort. Let's see if this one gets blocked up. It's a zone on the, you know, it's essentially a zone blocking scheme, though. So you just have the one. Yep, he gets in there. Okay, so now we have another lead blocker here with our fullback. Let's see. Okay, so that wasn't great. I mean, we're still going to, you know, get close to scoring a touchdown, but the IQ on that, the logic on that didn't make a ton of sense. So let's see here what happens. So we get a pull from our guard. He doesn't block this guy. For whatever reason, does not block him. Not sure why. Fullback does get him. You don't lose anything. He does end up getting to the second level, and because of a bad angle from the safety, he's able to cut him off. But it's annoying that instead of your pulling guard hitting this defender, the first defender he sees, and having your fullback get upfield and really be a lead blocker, you're forced to do this weird like switch and then, you know, hope it works. Let's try out of this one. Get it. Pull up and see again here. It's like the actual system is a little bit broken. Now it definitely feels better. I'm not going to say it doesn't, but the fact that instead of hitting the guy that's the nearest threat, he's going to go for the line or for the safety. Here, he should be taking on the linebacker that ends up making this play. It's still in his field of vision. There is no reason for him to keep going upfield here. That is a free runner. And so, yes, they made progress. It is better. But it still needs work. And it's not so much, again, like here. This is not an EA devs thing. This is a restriction of the system and the software, the engine that they use. I truly believe Frostbite is the reason that this doesn't work the way it's supposed to. 37. You are supposed to be essentially a lead blocker, pulling out. This is not the angle you take when you're running a toss sweep. Doesn't even, just what are we doing? And then you have this combination of blockers, the two tight ends, not blocking anyone. And instead of, even on his awful route, getting out there and blocking this corner, he just runs right upfield. And I'm left one-on-one with an unblocked corner for God knows why. So fixed? No, I wouldn't say it's fixed. Better, I'd say it definitely feels a lot smoother, and you notice less of those things than you would otherwise. So now I want to talk about the match zone coverage, because this was a big point of contention for a lot of people, especially in the comp community, just because you really couldn't play any type of match coverage because they wouldn't play their leverage correctly. And it was out of quarters. It was out of the 3-wide set that I first saw this. You see this kind of route concept. The way that the safety would play this backside safety would play this, so the guy that has the star under him, is that he would essentially let this player in the slot, A in this instance, cross his face. And even though he had leverage, he would just let him cross his face. That's the number one thing you're not supposed to do. And that's a problem, right? Because then there's really no way for you to be able to run quarters and stop anything in a trip set. Now, let's see. This is the first time I've run it. And I got sacked. So they also, supposedly, they talked about the increased pass rush. I have noticed a little bit that the pass rush does get home faster. So that's something to also keep in mind. But you'll notice that carry from that defender, that middle linebacker, or not a middle linebacker in this case, that carry is much better. We're going to max protect because I feel like I'm getting no time in the pocket. There we go. So he still lets him cross his face. So I don't know if they fixed it. Let's see. I didn't block. Yeah, like he's still getting across his face. Because this is the first time. This is me testing it live. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like they actually fixed it. So you'll still be able to take advantage. Okay, so another issue was that the corner route would just destroy outside leverage match corners. No matter if they were cover 3, if they were cover 4, it just could not figure out the leverage of it. Now, much better. Like that is exactly how you want your corner to play it. So he's just playing that outside. That's exactly how it should play. So, it looks like they've actually fixed that one. But your actual, cover 4 quarters looks are not super fixed. Now, I do want to just try out against just regular quarters match, just to see different concepts and how they match up. That's good. That was nice. You see everybody pick up somebody in their space. He's just kind of waiting on that wheel route. That was good. See? Yeah, that's exactly how it should pick up. That was nice. That was a really nice play. So he passes because he knows he's got this guy here. He's going to carry him. Deep safety is going to take this. This one's really nice. You got the strong side safety playing this number 2 outbreaking route really well, which allows this receiver who's going to carry anything inside to break and come back into this area and then make a play when I throw this crosser. That is beautiful. Like, that's exactly how it should play. Another thing they did was fix the mid-read drop. Not necessarily fix it because it wasn't a solid spot, when they first had it. I think it played it well, but it's almost going to play it better now. And let's go to a Tampa 2 so I can show you. So just watch it how quickly that mic gets depth. So that number 27 in the middle there. He turns his hips almost immediately and is going to be able to carry anything deep. Let's put so it'll be number 9 now. Let's put this guy on a post so you can kind of see. Look at that. Look at that, how quickly he gets depth there. That is going to immensely help cover those seam routes that are quick hitters. That's going to help a lot. So here, it's going to be number 27 again. Just watch how he carries Lacey. Look at how he carries him. You're just not hitting that. That route is taken away, which is how it should be. Let's see here. So this is going to be a play action. A little play action boot. Look at number 9 because it's now switched. Responsibility to change. Well, he bid on play action. All of a sudden, now he's getting a lot of depth. I'm going to hit him anyway. Here we go. Look at the depth he gets. I'm simply not able to throw it over the middle. They've also adjusted ag catching. Ag catching is a lot harder. Or I shouldn't say harder, but a lot more inconsistent. Which, if you're playing online, what a throw. If you're playing online is something that is awesome to hear because a lot of people are just doing those back shoulder ag catches, and it was super annoying. You're still going to be able to do that, but it's going to be a lot tougher for you to be able to do so. So let's try another ag catch. Just throw it up. I feel like the defense just plays it better now. There's just something about the way the defense played it that was like super stupid before the update, and now it feels like they actually play it well. Look at that. You're actually going to have to earn those, and you're not going to be able to go ball yourself out of situations, which, we saw everybody do against the CPU, against other users. You're not going to be able to just, be bailed out. And on the flip side, conversely, the CPU isn't going to be able to cheese you on 3rd and long when it felt like, they were OP on those deep balls. They're not going to be able to do that anymore. It's going to run harder. It's going to be harder to run, go balls in general. So that's super nice. You can also put your slot receivers on flat routes now and hot routes. I mean, it's not going to do anything there, but it kind of, in that specific play, it created a little bit of a window, and I didn't mean to do that. Can I go back? Created a little bit of a window, right? So that, that defender at the top of your screen is going to get drawn in that flat. My running back, who is a late leak out of the backfield, is now going to have this massive window to play with post catch. Now, the defender comes off of it as soon as he sees my quarterback get ready to throw there, which he's in zone coverage. He should, but it gives you that window to throw the ball to. So something really cool that you can do that a lot of people are going to cheese is run this double flat where you just throw it to that second receiver and have a built-in, essentially, screen. I wouldn't recommend being one of those people, but I'm just saying that you can. The hard flats also play better on defense. It was a little bit of an issue where they weren't actually playing the hard flat. They were kind of just floating around, not really recognizing who was in their zone. So we got to fix for that. Some other just clean up things on the bug side. All in all, I think it's obviously a much needed update, but I think they did a really good job of focusing on things that actually matter and putting us in a position where, this game, which was, a lot of people are going to say it wasn't great. I think it's a fun game. Like, I'm having a really good time with it. I think it puts it in a much better spot And that's kind of exactly what we needed. You know, they answered a lot of questions and feedback that we had, which is exactly what I was hoping for. That's, you know, that's why you make these videos talking about this stuff that's wrong with the game, because these devs have shown that they see it and they're going to help you out. Like, they're going to make the game better, you know, as best as they can. So while everything is still not perfect, it is a much needed fix that will definitely, you know, in the long run, be great for the game. And of course, you know, new bugs are going to arise from this, and we'll be right back to, you know, not square one, but we'll be right back to talking about, you know, oh, this game sucks. You know, what are the devs doing? They're not even focusing on the game. But it's, you know, it's not just that easy. When you fix things, because of how big the game is, other things are going to happen to it. And so it's going to take a lot of fine-tuning to really get it perfect. And this is the issue that yearly release games have, is that they can't test everything. They can't figure everything out. You'd have to play. I mean, think about how many thousands of hours, hundreds of thousands of hours that are out there being played of this game. You don't get that in the beta phase. You don't get to test that. You don't have enough people. Now you have a bazillion people trying to play this game and are finding every single flaw with it. You know, and it could be a 1 in 10,000 flaw, but they're finding it. So that's, you know, we're going to find more of that stuff. Like, I just saw one where somebody's left guard disappeared from the game. Like, they straight up did not have a left guard. They only had 10 players on the field, and he would not come back. So, you know, there's going to have to be a fix for that. Again, I haven't seen it. I don't think I probably haven't played enough since the update to, you know, get that. But even if I did play enough, who knows if I would have seen it, right? It's one person. So I think all in all, it's a really good update. It makes the game play smoother. It makes it play cleaner. Not too much has changed in the terms of how the game plays. I still think that your good metas are going to be your good metas, and how you play the game isn't going to change a ton. But the things that needed to be cleaned up got cleaned up, and I think that's the most important thing. That is all I have for you today. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you on the flip. See ya.